Welcome to Abruzzo.
Hi YouTube, it's me Dani, and today I am filming from Italy, and in particular I am in a region called Abruzzo, and in particular I am in a town called Lanciano. And the reason why I am here is because this is actually where my ancestors are from my mother's side. So those of you that follow me, you'll know that I am Australian. I was born in Australia. I have always lived in Australia, except when I was living in the Middle East for working for Emirates and Qatar Airways. However, I do have Italian heritage on my mum's side. And I felt really called recently to travel to the town where my family is from. So that's kind of why I'm here. I'm only spending a few days here. I don't really know what I'm gonna do. My family, I do have family here. However, we've kind of lost contact with them over the years because my grandmother, my Nonna, she moved to Australia when she was 19 years old, so a long time ago, and she doesn't actually speak to her family who are still alive that are living in Abruzzo. So I don't really know anyone here, but really for me it wasn't about connecting to relatives. It was more so just me connecting to the land, to actually going to a place that is very much in my blood, in my DNA. And I just wanted to come here and just get a sense of where my Nonna was born and all my ancestors from her side that I know of, where they lived, where, you know, the kind of community that they were brought up in, the environment they were brought up in, and just to get a feel and just see how I feel like walking in their territory on the land that they once walked upon, drinking the same water, eating the same type of foods that are grown here locally. So that's kind of my whole reasoning to come here. And already I've just been in Lanciano since yesterday and it feels really special. I don't know why. It's interesting because most people, it's not a town where tourists come. So there's not many people that speak English here. So I'm finding that a little bit difficult because I only speak English. I know just bits and pieces of Italian. So that's been interesting. But everyone's been so lovely and very helpful. And today I'm actually going to the town, it's called Castel Frentano, which is just in the town next door to Lanciano. I'm gonna try to get a bus there. I don't know how I'm gonna figure that out because the place that I'm staying at doesn't even have Wi-Fi. I didn't know that when I booked it. I probably wouldn't have booked this place had I not known that there was no Wi-Fi, because yesterday when I checked in I was like, what do you mean there's no internet? So I'm literally off the grid. I don't have a translator. I don't have any internet, so I can't research how to get there. But I do know that there is a bus that can take you there. I just have to figure out where to catch the bus from. So wish me luck with that. I'll let you know how I go because I'm going to take you with me on my journey to, I hope, Castel Frentano, which is where my family is from. So just to connect to that place and see what happened. So yeah, that was a bit of a long explanation. I'm still a little bit jet lagged, as I spoke about in my previous video when I was in Dubai, but I am loving Italy so far. I mean, I've come to Italy many times, but I've never actually come to Abruzzo, which is where my family's from. So it feels really special to be here. So without any further ado, let's go and see if I can figure out how to catch this bus to Castel Frentano. So I managed to make it to the bus station. There's not many buses to be found, but I did speak to one of the bus drivers and I asked him that I want to get to Castel Frentano. His English was not very good, but we did manage to have a broken English conversation, and he did tell me that there is a bus which will have Castel Frentano on the signage at the front of it. So I'm just waiting for that bus. I have no idea what time it comes. I think he said it will be in a moment. But I'm just gonna wait here until that bus comes. He was pretty sure that it will come here, so I'm on my way. Hopefully it's not that far away and we can get to Castel Frentano, so stay tuned. So guess what? I made it to Castel Frentano. It is so quiet here. I don't know where the people are, but I have had the most magical day. It's amazing how being switched off to Wi-Fi and the internet has forced me to tune in to my body and my own intuition, because I don't have the internet, I don't have Google for all the answers. I've had to just really listen to my body and what it's guiding me to do. So the crazy thing is, I was waiting at the bus stop for about almost 3 hours and there was no bus to Castel Frentano that I could see. So I don't think I've mentioned it here before, but one way that I communicate to the spiritual realm is through animals, and butterflies are one of my spiritual animals. So I don't know if anyone can relate to this, but when I see butterflies, whether it's a real butterfly or it's just a butterfly, like a picture of a butterfly, or someone's wearing a necklace of a butterfly, whenever I see butterflies, or butterfly just flew past me, that's my connection to God, to source, to spirit, and I feel very protected and guided when I see butterflies. And this has been for a long time. Butterflies have been very meaningful to me. And the crazy thing is, one bus pulled up after about 3 hours of waiting at this bus stop, and there was this butterfly flying around the bus, and it caught my attention. And it wasn't the bus to Castel Frentano, but I had this feeling I needed to go to that bus for a particular reason, because there was this butterfly and the butterfly was just flying around this bus. So I went up to the bus driver and he didn't speak English, but I just said, I'm trying to get to Castel Frentano, can you help me? And this bus driver was so amazing. He was on his phone Googling how I can get there. And basically he said that I was at the wrong bus stop, and he was trying to explain for me how to get to the other bus stop, but then he was like, don't worry about it, just jump on this bus and I'll drop you at the other bus stop. So I got on this bus and he dropped me at the right bus stop, bless him, and he said that in 5 minutes a bus to Castel Frentano will come. So anyway, I went to this bus stop, bought a bus ticket and hopped on the bus to Castel Frentano. So it took me about 15 minutes to get here on the bus, and that was a whole drama in itself, because I didn't know how to, like, you have to stamp the bus ticket. So this bus inspector, ticket inspector, he was like teaching me in Italian how to use the bus system. Anyway, got to Castel Frentano, had no plans for today, just using my intuition. I started walking around the city, or this town. It's so beautiful. It's like so much more beautiful than I even imagined. I wish I stayed here instead of Lanciano. It's so beautiful. It's like really old school, but like very well kept, and all the houses are like different colors, and oh, it's so pretty. I really love it. I can't believe like this is where my family's from. And so my first stop is, I was walking the streets and I came across this church. So I went into the church and, you know, I was just taking some photos. So it's not a big town, so there's not a lot of churches here. And then this man came, this young man, and he introduced himself. Actually, I don't even know his name. I should have got his name. He was so beautiful. He said he was a police officer, but he sometimes works at the church. He kind of volunteers to restore the church to what it once was. And I think his family is from Castel Frentano, which is why he's passionate about helping out here. So he ended up giving me this whole friggin' tour of the church. So I was in this church, and then he's like, come with me, and he showed me this other church, which was so much more beautiful, and it was like downstairs, like a hidden church. And then he's like, showing me another one after that, so I went to like 3 within the same complex, and they were all kind of like buried further down into the church, and they were so much more beautiful. Like the 3rd one he showed me was my absolute favorite. It is so stunning, and he talked about the churches in Castel Frentano are devoted to the Virgin Mary, which I absolutely love because I am currently on a path of the Divine Feminine, and I don't want to get into all of that at the moment. So one thing I'm really passionate about is kind of relearning the history of the church or Christianity through the lens of the feminine, so learning a lot more about Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene. I'm actually doing a retreat in a few weeks in the south of France. It's kind of like a pilgrimage or a retreat in devotion of Mary Magdalene, which I'm so excited about. So it feels really, really, really special to be in Castel Frentano, which is the town where my family's from, and for it to be a town that basically worships the Divine Mother, which is Mother Mary, or she's I guess, one lens of how we can view the Divine Mother, because obviously through different religions and different cultures, we can look at the Divine Mother through different archetypes. But for me, there's this strong connection to Mother Mary, which is really, really beautiful, and it's exciting, and I felt so aligned, like I was meant to be here. And I've been seeing so many butterflies, and that man ended up taking me to the top of the bell tower in the church. So I got amazing views of Abruzzo and Castel Frentano, which is amazing, and it was like so perfectly timed. Like the way that I think is that everything is so perfect, right? Like just say for example, I ended up going to the right bus stop and I arrived in Castel Frentano a few hours earlier, maybe I would have gone to the church and I would never have met that police officer who ended up giving me a whole tour of the church. So I'm just so grateful that I am here at this very moment. Like I feel like it's so perfectly aligned, and I'm so grateful that I don't even have internet or Wi-Fi, because I trusted my intuition and it's led me here at this moment. So after my tour of the church, I went to another church which was like a 5-minute walk, called the Church of Assumption, I think that's what he called it, and it was completely empty. And this is another church that is devoted to Mother Mary, and I felt really overwhelmed when I walked in. I actually started crying. I got on my knees and I prayed for the first time in a long time. Like I pray regularly, but I mean in a church setting I don't typically do that, but I felt really overwhelmed in a good way when I entered that church for some reason. And I lit a candle. There was like candles and a lighter, and I lit a candle and I said a prayer for my family and all my ancestors who I feel that I'm connecting to and doing a lot of healing work on, particularly by being on this land. So I guess at the end of the day, what I really want to say is I'm so grateful that I've come here, and I'm so grateful that I listened to my intuition and I followed the butterflies and it's led me here. Also asked the police officer at the church about my surnames, my Italian surnames, so Abruzzo and D'Amico, and I was told that they're really common here. It's like everyone has the same surname. So yeah. Another thing I did was I made sure I drank the water from one of the fountains. If anyone's been to Italy, you'll know that they have fountains, like drinking water, and I made sure I drank that water because the element water, it retains memories. So if you can drink the water from where your ancestors are from or as close to, it's actually one way that you can connect with them, because water holds memories, and even though time has passed, it's one way that you can connect with your ancestors, which I think is really cool and really beautiful, and it doesn't hurt to try. Honestly, if you were even considering or thinking about potentially going back to your roots and connecting to your ancestors and visiting the land that they once lived on, I highly recommend that you do, because this has been so amazing. It's exceeded my expectations.